Alright, so there's been a little bit of a development over time in the game, in specific with the burst releases. So the burst mechanic is something that only certain costumes get, and it is a way for them to increase their effects. It started off being purely just increase the number, but they've also said because it's uninteresting to just have the number increases, they would do effects as well, additional effects. So I have in front of me something new about this. Here it is on screen. It was a part of, well, let's see, when did this come out? Yesterday's dev note, and it was for the adjustment of the burst release volume. So if we read what's on the text, essentially there were a lot of releases for this. I mean, not too long ago we had the first batch, which was right, so we had the bursts first time releasing on the May 6th update, and it came out with 8 instead of 15 costumes, apparently. Didn't know that particular detail, so that was a good thing that they ended up not releasing that many, because we do not get enough materials to upgrade very many at all. So if I take a look on my own account, which essentially does everything for the most part, there are only 2 shops that I do not buy Sparks of Rampage from, and it is from the Powder of Hope shop and from the Refinement Remnants shop, because I value those 2 currencies a lot more for their other uses, which we've had so far. Or I suppose the Refinement Remnants are also new, but whatever. The point is, those currencies to me are more valuable for what the other things in that shop are. And, once again, if I take a look at my own account, for what I have managed to do with the bursts system, during these 2 months, I have managed to upgrade 1, 2, 3 costumes with the burst mechanic, and I think that's it. That's it. Let's see. Let's make sure I'm correct. Okay. Basically, yes, I can get 4 and something, I think. I can get 4 and... No. Okay, so I can get 4 and I am just a little bit dipped into the next one, but not fully. So, the next one of, like, the first upgrade, I mean. So, basically nothing. Essentially, this means that without buying packages, right, without spending real money, you're only really gonna be able to get 2 of these per month, these upgrades, because that's what the income is, right? Unless they start giving it out a lot more, that's just how the income was. And they came out with 8. They were apparently planning 15, which would have been even more ridiculous, but they essentially were going to release 10 or more burst enhancements every 2 weeks. Right here in the newest developer note, that has been said. Apparently it was in a different one. I don't remember reading it, so yeah. But it's right here. That's a lot. The reasoning that they put for why they decided to adjust how much they're gonna release is, oh yeah, more polished and complete, right, because of the quality. No. the biggest issue with that is you are releasing so many of them that it is essentially impossible to keep up with the income that we have. And I know they wanted it to be probably over a long period of time, etc., etc. But the problem with that is that they started releasing right here. This was the previous batch from 2 weeks ago now. In this batch, they released the brand new characters, Ocean Guard Luvencia and Deadeye Nekandalia. They both came out with a burst upgrade available. So basically, they were going to keep releasing every new costume with its bursts, more or less, right? And here, in the same little list here, we can also see that the effects of them are pretty strong. So it's not anymore just a damage upgrade, but they basically all have a unique effect. Except Prophetic Dream Darien for some reason. I really didn't like that one. But as you can see, Luvencia over here has a chain damage increase of plus 10. Dahlia here has, in her first one though, plus 3% chain damage taken to the enemies that she hits for 4 turns. Neither of these are anything to scoff at. However, one of them is at the first node, which means that you can technically little dip and then stop, but for Luvencia you have to go all the way to the end for it. This chain damage increase is not small at all. There's others as well, right? There's others that are a pretty big deal, like this evasion here is a big deal for PvP, for example. This one increases the turns that Swimsuit Mikala has her magic attack buff, while also increasing it by 100% more. This means you can dip it into another costume's damage hits, and before that you couldn't do that. So, huge deal. The buff extensions are a big deal, especially for ones that you couldn't actually carry on that effect before. Now you can, and then that's a massive buff, right? That's a massive buff, and it's a difference between making a unit really OP and not. For example, Fire Graffiti Anastasia, we all saw what just happened. This fire raid, you borderline like one-shot the boss with Anastasia. You did so much damage with one of her fully bursted skills. Now, not all of them are as strong. Obviously, some of them are somewhat interesting, like Eclipses here lets you hit with this again. It's a huge nuke that you can just hit twice, or I guess more, but it's purely for guild raid. It's a cool effect, right? I won't deny that. It's cool and interesting, but the problem there is you still need to upgrade all of these. Obviously not all of them, yes, and basically you end up locked in this position with this upgrade system. The problem is that you end up locked in this position where you have to hoard until you need it for one of the strategies and then upgrade it. Otherwise you're wasting it, right? Otherwise you're wasting something that you may have you may have needed for a different time, for a different costume. So just willy-nilly, oh, I like this character, so I'll upgrade their burst too, I use them all the time, or oh, this burst seems interesting, I maybe want to play with it and try it. You can't really do that, unless, I guess you don't care But if you actually want to like do clears and be effective, you're essentially just gonna have to follow the meta for this and hoard and then potentially skip some of them completely, right? Even if you wanted them. Obviously the borrow system kind of alleviates it, but it's really not enough because you also can't do that for Fiend Hunt, and it's just not a satisfying system. With like 10 plus releases every 2 weeks, while you can only upgrade 2 per month, that means you can only upgrade a single one of these per release. Okay? Man, just like, why do the rest even exist? Right? Why do you even have the rest? Basically. And even if I don't want to just point a finger and accuse them that they were just being greedy and wanted to sell this in the packs, it really fucking seems that way, because then they released those packs that they then called back, and it was just not a good look. On top of this many releases, they also really tried to monetize it, and like, yes, it's a game and create the problem, sell the solution. It's a gacha game, right? But man, it was just not fun. The thing is though, for Brown Dust 2, unlike other games that have essentially come into this same situation, just a little bit differently, Brown Dust 2 at the very least listened when the people complained about it, and right here, as they said, they're slowing down. Great. I think that's a very good thing. The income for Sparks of Rampage and the amount of releases for burst upgrades was going to get very exhausting. Maybe you weren't seeing it yet, but if you just think about it a little bit, you can really tell that it was just not gonna be it. It's like an ultra endgame thing, basically. People will only really care about it if they care about endgame and doing like high difficulty or high level raids, and those same people will care about the meta, and so they'll end up just like upgrading the same costumes as everybody else in order to keep up with strategies, and nobody's gonna have fun with it. Okay, just nobody is going to have fun with it, because you cannot even spare to try and get something else. The amount of releases, like, maybe they wanted to have eventually everybody as soon as possible. Like, I don't know, maybe it wasn't greed that drove them to make it so much. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, but again, it just wasn't good. It was just not gonna be fun, right? It was just not gonna be fun or interesting for anybody. Regardless, that's about it. I don't want to drag this out too much more. I think it's pretty obvious what we were dealing with, and it's a good thing that it has stopped. So, yeah, but it hasn't stopped, but they're slowing it down, which is essentially what we needed. But let's still wait and see how it develops. We can maybe talk about it at some point in the future. If you want to see that at some point, please subscribe. And if you agree, like this video, yeah. Anyways, have a nice day. Bye-bye.
熱いシート完成、これほどの充実感とは。